Hello, soap opera fans. Today is a beautiful, bright day to dive back into the swirling, emotional drama of Genoa City. Grab your favorite cup of coffee, settle into your absolute coziest chair, and let us unravel the latest breathtaking twists and turns together. We have some incredibly profound and touching updates to discuss regarding two of our favorite characters, so let us jump right into the heart of the story. Sometimes in the world of daytime television, the most shocking moments do not come from massive explosions, bitter corporate takeovers, or scandalous affairs, but rather from the quiet, terrifying vulnerability of two people staring down the barrel of a life-altering truth. For Sally Spectra and Billy Abbott, the universe has just handed them the ultimate unexpected plot twist. The confirmation of Sally's pregnancy has sent a seismic shockwave through both of their lives, completely upending their realities and forcing them to confront a future they were absolutely not prepared for. This is not just a story about a new baby, it is a profound narrative about navigating the treacherous waters of hope when your past is anchored by unimaginable grief. The sheer emotional weight of this revelation is staggering, and it is setting the stage for what might be the most beautifully complex storyline of the year. To truly understand the gravity of this moment, we have to look deeply at the psychological state of Sally Spectra. When those two pregnancy tests came back positive, it was not a moment of pure, unadulterated joy. Instead, it was a moment of suffocating panic, an overwhelming tidal wave of anxiety that threatened to pull her under. Sally is a woman who has fought tooth and nail for every single scrap of happiness she has ever had, but the universe has a cruel habit of snatching it away just when she feels safe. The memory of losing her beautiful baby Ava is not just a sad thought, it is a visceral, living trauma that resides in her bones. The hospital room, the beeping monitors, the agonizing reality that Adam had to choose her life over their child's, these are scars that do not simply fade with time. For Sally, the idea of carrying another child feels like walking barefoot through a minefield. The terror of history repeating itself is entirely paralyzing, making it almost impossible for her to breathe, let alone celebrate. On the other side of this emotional equation stands Billy Abbott, a man whose entire adult life has been profoundly shaped by the devastating loss of his daughter, Delia. Billy understands the dark, suffocating abyss of parental grief better than almost anyone in Genoa City. The memory of that dark road, the headlights, and the agonizing guilt that followed him for years has fundamentally altered his DNA as a father and as a man. When Sally came to him with the news of the pregnancy, Billy did not just hear that he was going to be a father again, he heard the echoes of his past colliding with the fragile promise of his future. Yet, instead of spiraling into his historically destructive patterns, Billy is demonstrating a breathtaking level of maturity. He recognizes that Sally's fear is a mirror of his own, and he knows that if they are going to survive this terrifying, beautiful journey, he cannot afford to be the reckless gambler he once was. He has to be the anchor. This brings us to the pivotal events unfolding on April 29th, a day that promises to be a major turning point in their relationship. Billy has recognized the profound emotional paralysis gripping Sally, and he has made a conscious, deliberate decision to step up in a way that is both incredibly romantic and deeply grounding. He knows that Sally is overwhelmed by the medical implications, the haunting memories, and the sheer unpredictability of the future. She is drowning in the logistics of fear. Therefore, Billy decides to cut through the noise and do something extraordinary. He plans a surprise for her, not to overwhelm her with Abbott wealth or grand, public spectacles, but to offer her a profoundly intimate sanctuary. He wants to remind her that before they are parents facing a terrifying medical journey, they are a man and a woman who care deeply for one another. According to the latest developments, Billy's surprise on the evening of April 29th is masterfully understated yet emotionally explosive. He presents Sally with a single, beautiful rose. In the grand scheme of Genoa City, where men buy entire companies or diamond necklaces to prove their affection, a single rose might seem modest. But for Billy and Sally, it is the perfect gesture. It is a symbol of singular focus, of delicate beauty that requires care and attention to thrive, When Billy hands her that rose, he is making a silent vow. He is promising her a wonderful night together, a temporary reprieve from the crushing weight of their anxieties. He is creating a safe bubble where the ghosts of Delia and Eva cannot reach them, even if just for a few hours. Billy's primary goal for this evening is to treat Sally like an absolute queen. If we look at Sally's history, she has spent so much of her life fighting to be seen, fighting to be respected, and fighting to prove her worth in a world that constantly looks down on her. She has been the underdog, the outcast, and the woman who always had to hustle just to survive. Billy wants to completely dismantle that narrative. He wants to pull out her chair, pour her water, look deeply into her eyes, and make her feel like she is the most precious and valuable person on the face of the earth. He wants to pamper her, not just physically, but emotionally, offering her a level of devotion and unwavering support that she has rarely experienced without strings attached. This is Billy Abbott stepping into the role of a true leading man, offering a steady hand to a woman who is used to navigating the storms entirely alone. During this beautifully orchestrated evening, there is a massive temptation hovering in the air. Given the circumstances and the intense surge of emotion, it would be incredibly easy for Billy to drop to one knee and propose. The impulse to lock down their family unit, to provide a legal and traditional framework for their impending parenthood, is a strong one. However, the true brilliance of Billy's actions on April 29th lies in his remarkable restraint. He wisely recognizes that proposing right now would be a catastrophic miscalculation. Sally is already carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She is feeling completely overloaded by the pregnancy and the resurgence of her past trauma. Dropping a diamond ring and a lifelong commitment into her lap right now would not feel like a romantic victory. It would feel like an emotional ambush. By holding back the proposal, Billy proves that he is listening to her needs rather than servicing his own ego. He is giving her the space to process one massive life change before introducing another. As the evening progresses, Billy's strategy of gentle and wavering support begins to yield beautiful results. The atmosphere he has carefully curated, the soft lighting, the quiet conversation, the undeniable safety of his presence allows Sally to finally exhale. For the first time since she saw those two pink lines, the rigid tension in her shoulders begins to dissolve. She looks across the table at Billy, seeing not just a wealthier or complicated man, but a true partner who is willing to stand in the fire with her. It is in this profound moment of connection that the emotional dam finally breaks. Sally allows herself to feel the faintest, most terrifying spark of joy. By the end of this magical night, a monumental shift occurs within Sally's heart. She looks at Billy, holding the rose he gave her, and she makes a courageous choice. She officially admits, out loud, that she is ready to move forward with the pregnancy. This is not a naive declaration. She knows exactly how much pain could be waiting for them. But she also realizes that living in a state of perpetual fear is no way to honor the life growing inside her, nor is it a way to honor the memory of the child she lost. With Billy's confirmation that he is standing right beside her, matching her commitment step for step, Sally embraces the reality of their situation. This mutual agreement is a deeply powerful moment, solidifying them as a united front against whatever the future holds. With this emotional breakthrough achieved, the narrative immediately shifts from abstract anxiety to concrete, practical reality. Sally knows that she cannot simply hope for the best. She must actively manage her health and the health of her unborn child. The very next step is to schedule all the necessary medical appointments, beginning with the all-important initial ultrasound. This transition from fear to action is a crucial part of her healing process. Making those phone calls, writing dates on the calendar, and preparing to walk into a clinic are all acts of profound bravery for a woman who associates hospitals with the darkest day of her life. But this time, she will not be walking through those sterile doors alone. Billy will be holding her hand every single step of the way, providing the physical and emotional buffer she desperately needs. Now, let us take a moment to offer some honest, personal commentary on these two incredibly complex characters, starting with Billy Abbott. If we are being completely straightforward, Billy has spent a large portion of his time on our screens being his own worst enemy. He has been the reckless boy in a man's body, constantly searching for the next thrill, the next gamble, or the next chaotic romance to distract him from his internal pain. But what we are witnessing right now is the beautiful, hard-earned evolution of a man finally growing into his potential. Watching Billy interact with Sally during this crisis is like watching a masterclass in redemption. He is not trying to fix her or control the situation. He is simply offering his strength. His ability to channel his own tragic history with Delia into a deep, empathetic well of support for Sally is breathtaking. He is finally becoming the patriarch, the protector, and the solid ground that his family always needed him to be. As for Sally Spectre, it is almost impossible not to be in awe of her resilience. When she first arrived from Los Angeles, she was a fiery, ambitious schemer who often let her drive overshadow her heart. But the crucible of Genoa City has forged her into a woman of incredible depth and vulnerability. The loss of baby Ava stripped away all of her protective armor, leaving her raw and exposed. Yet, even in her darkest moments, Sally has never lost her fundamental desire to love and be loved. Her journey through grief has been agonizingly realistic, and her current hesitation to embrace this new pregnancy is deeply relatable. She is not a flawless heroine, she is a beautifully flawed, fiercely strong woman who is terrified of having her heart broken again. Watching her slowly allow herself to trust Billy, and more importantly, to trust the universe again, is one of the most compelling emotional arcs on daytime television right now. The chemistry between Billy and Sally works so incredibly well precisely because it is built on a foundation of mutual brokenness. They do not pretend to be perfect for each other. They do not engage in the toxic, manipulative games that define so many other relationships in town. Instead, they offer each other a radical, unconditional acceptance of their scars. Billy does not judge Sally for her past mistakes, and Sally does not hold Billy's historical recklessness against him. They are two survivors who have found a safe harbor in one another. This pregnancy, rather than tearing them apart with stress, is acting as the ultimate catalyst to fuse their souls together. They are learning to navigate the darkness as a team, and that makes them a formidable, deeply romantic couple that is impossible not to root for. But as any seasoned soap opera viewer knows, a moment of peace is usually just the deep breath before the plunge. As Sally and Billy prepare for their upcoming medical appointments, we have to look ahead and predict what the universe has in store for them next. The initial ultrasound is meant to be a routine check to ensure the viability of the pregnancy, to hear that precious, rapid heartbeat, and to give them a visual confirmation of the life they have agreed to protect. However, in the dramatic landscape of Genoa City, routine appointments rarely go exactly as planned. There is a massive, looming twist that feels incredibly fitting for the emotional trajectory of this specific couple. We predict that when the technician applies the cold gel, glides the wand across Sally's stomach, and stares at the flickering black and white screen, there will be a sudden, tense pause. The technician might ask them to hold their breath for a moment, adjusting the angle of the machine. Billy's grip on Sally's hand will tighten, his heart leaping into his throat as the terror of bad news threatens to suffocate him. Sally's eyes will well with tears of panic, instantly fearing the worst. But then, the technician will turn the screen toward them with a warm, reassuring smile and deliver news that will completely shatter their reality. There is not just one heartbeat echoing through the room. There are two. Sally and Billy are going to have twins. The revelation of twins would be a narrative masterstroke, an absolute game-changer that perfectly encapsulates the dual nature of their journey. On one hand, discovering they are having twins would be a moment of staggering, overwhelming joy. It is a double blessing, a miraculous abundance of life that feels almost like a divine reward for the intense suffering they have both endured. The sheer shock of the news would leave them breathless, laughing and crying simultaneously as they try to process the magnitude of what they have just been told. It would instantly transform their cautious hope into a vibrant, undeniable reality. They walked into that clinic praying for one healthy baby, and they walk out preparing to welcome two completely new lives into the world. However, the flip side of this miraculous coin is the intense, amplified terror that comes with a multiple pregnancy. If carrying one child feels like walking through a minefield for Sally and Billy, carrying twins is akin to navigating a war zone blindfolded. A twin pregnancy is inherently high risk, requiring far more medical intervention, monitoring, and physical toll on the mother. For a woman who has already suffered a catastrophic late-term loss, The physical demands and the constant medical anxiety of carrying twins will test Sally's mental and emotional endurance to its absolute limits. Every single twinge, every moment of fatigue, and every doctor's appointment will be magnified by a factor of 2. The fear of losing not just one, but 2 babies, will be a dark, silent shadow haunting every day of her pregnancy. For Billy, the news of twins will trigger a massive protective overdrive. He is already hyper-vigilant about Sally's well-being, but learning that she is carrying 2 fragile lives will push him to the absolute brink of his capacity to care. He will have to balance his profound joy with the terrifying reality that he could potentially lose everything all over again. The ghosts of Delia and Ava will be ever present, reminding them of the fragility of life, but beautifully, the twins also represent a profound thematic symmetry. Between them, Billy and Sally have lost 2 beloved children. The universe handing them 2 new lives feels like a poetic, deeply spiritual restoration of the balance. It does not replace the children they lost, nothing ever could, but it offers a profound, tangible testament to the enduring power of life over death. This twin twist will also send massive shockwaves through the rest of Genoa City. Imagine the reaction of the Abbott family, who will be thrilled but also deeply concerned for Billy's emotional stability. Imagine the complex, heartbreaking reaction from Adam Newman, who recently gave Sally his blessing, only to discover she is now carrying 2 children with his rival. The dramatic potential is absolutely endless. The stakes have never been higher for Billy and Sally. If they can survive the grueling, terrifying, and beautiful 9 months of a high-risk twin pregnancy, if they can hold onto each other through the panic and the joy, they will emerge as one of the most unbreakable, legendary super couples in the history of the show. They are standing on the precipice of a terrifying miracle, and we cannot wait to watch every single second of it unfold. What do you think about Billy's beautifully understated romantic gesture? And how would you react if Sally and Billy discover they are expecting twins? Drop your thoughts, theories, and hopes in the comments below. And do not forget to share this article with your fellow Y&R fanatics so we can keep the conversation going.